Hello. I apologize for the troubles we had in class today. I'm going to go back over some of the PowerPoint that I was trying to show you today in class, and this way you can watch it on Friday or tomorrow. We had talked about the parish and the vestry and how this was organized in North America. Different from England, because in England, of course, the population was higher, and there were more towns, and so they could keep things very organized, have the input of bishops and so forth. In America, we see that people tend to live along rivers. Those rivers are long and narrow. Travel can be difficult, and so getting to a church for services is much harder for them to do. This whole situation then weakened the sort of control of the parish, and the other thing that it did weakened it over the people. It also, of course, weakened it with the hierarchy of the church as well. So we see that someone had to take care of the buildings and sort of oversee what was going on, which would normally, a bishop would have done that back in England. So this is called the vestry. The vestry is, I suppose, somewhat like a church board. Okay? And here you see George Washington signed this. He was actually on the vestry in Williamsburg early on. Okay? They also are trustees of the property, make sure the roof was repaired, make sure everything stayed in good order. So we see the other thing that happens, the vestrymen then were also the ones who had power within the community, not only the church. Because often there was no local bishop, and so it was the vestry that would appoint the parish priests. It was the vestry that controlled the finances of the church. It was the vestry that took care of the building. These were landed gentry. That's a word maybe you haven't used much, gentry. Gentry means property owners. They had to own property, and they had enough wealth to own property. And therefore, the landed gentry were in this role. Basically the same people who were running the local government were also typically the ones who were running the church sort of government or organization of the church. They were also justices of the peace. They were also then delegates to the House of Burgesses, which you see here at Williamsburg. We did get to talk about Maryland today, and but I want to go back over that as well. And most of the colonies are going to be affiliated with the Anglican Church. And I pointed this out today in class, but remember, there are sort of three words you can use interchangeably: Anglican, Episcopal, and Church of England. The Church of England, or the Anglican Church, also the Episcopal Church. In England, it's typically called the Church of England. Maybe Anglican. But here in North America, it was called more the Anglican Church, maybe sometimes the Church of England. Of course, this fell out of popularity during the Revolutionary War, where people didn't want to say they were members of the Church of England when there was a war being fought against England for independence. So the name is shifted to the Episcopal Church, which talks to the form of government. That you have episkopos in Greek, which means bishop. So we see then a lot of the colonies are Anglican. New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia by 1758. The Maryland started with being open to Roman Catholics, and will keep a large number of Roman Catholics in this colony for a long time. the colony is begun by the Calvert family. The Calvert family has a title, Lord Baltimore. So this is where we get the name Baltimore in Maryland. Eventually that family will convert to the Anglican Church in 1713, but still a large percentage of people are in the Roman Catholic Church for many years. Now we see Thomas Bray, 1656 to 1730. He will be sent over from England to assess what's going on, to see what is needed, and we see that he starts a couple of organizations, two societies. One is for the propagation of the gospel in foreign parts. Okay, so he's working with that organization, which is basically a missionary effort from the Church of England, the Anglican Church, and of course especially to North America, but elsewhere as well. 300 missionaries are sent. Many are working with Native Americans, okay, as well as trying to strengthen the local church. They also start the Society for the Promotion of Christian Knowledge, SPCK. The other one is SPGFP, because it's such a long title. The SPCK, you undoubtedly will see some books in our library that have that at the beginning, maybe a sort of sticker in it, kind of a marking in it, or even on the publishing page. Okay, so we see that mostly the Anglicans, they're very strong in the southern part there. So let's talk then about Puritans. And there are Puritans, and then there are sort of separatists. These Puritans are separatists. They want to have a state church, but they want to be independent of the Anglican Church. Okay, mostly in New England. A lot of times these are called then congregational churches at that time. Congregational. So we see the congregational churches are very important in New England. Now the separatists, Pilgrims, they want to have a separate state, separate church and state. So this is sort of where this idea enters, that there should not be a state church, okay, that it should be independent of the government. This starts with the Pilgrims. You see here a famous painting about them landing on Plymouth Rock. Before they landed on Plymouth Rock, they actually created sort of established their government through a document known as the Mayflower Compact. And this sort of set up their government before they ever landed. And so that happens in 1620. Governor William Bradford, the religious leader Elder Brewster. So we see there's also Puritans who are separatists. These want to purify the church. They want to get rid of Roman Catholic sort of ideas and things that are not quite Protestant enough for them. But they were Calvinists, and they wanted to have church membership for the regenerated. But how do you know you're among the elect? How do you know that? Through this regeneration, through an event that would happen, traumatic event that they would experience, and this would certify or demonstrate that you were among God's elect. So we see then at this time, when people are sailing from England and when they're coming to a fairly wild country, there were a lot of occasions to have experiences like a big storm, maybe a shipwreck, maybe an animal coming close to killing you, attacking you, maybe having a tree or something else fall on you, maybe getting lost in the wilderness. These are all things that if you were saved from those, you could point to it and say, you see, God spared me. This shows that I am among the elect. Of course, once things get more settled, it's more difficult to have that experience, and that's what paves the way for the first Great Awakening in 1726 to 1756. All right, we're going to leave it there for this one, and I will record another for you here that is something I was hoping to do also today.